Boom! God, please. The beat.
That's crazy, bro.
God, please.
30 seconds. Yes.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to Beyond the Horizon. I'm excited, and we got new intro music created right here in the studio in the last 45 seconds. Man, AI is incredible. Today's guest, we have Mr. Sina Azari, strategic business coach, man of many talents. And I'm just so excited to catch up and get back together. We haven't been in the studio in a long time.
Yeah, man. Congratulations. Beautiful studio, man.
Yeah, thank you. Absolutely was inspired by some of the things that we did back in the day.
You trailblazer. Absolutely.
Well,
pretty incredible.
Let's get into some stuff. It's been a long time. We've known each other since, 2009.
Yeah.
Back in the good old Bankers days.
Brea. Shout out to Bankers Life.
And a lot has happened since then. But you just released something, and we'll get into talking about that. There's just so many things. Like the intro to this is just like, where do I even go with it? Because I know so many nooks and crannies of different things that we can talk about that are just going to help a lot of people. And it's fun, and we never get a conversation where we're not laughing hysterically. But what do you say? What's going on in your life right now? What are you working on? What are some of the most like kind of important things that are taking up your time and space right now?
Fortunately, I'm creating time and space more than taking up my time and space. So thank you for asking that question, man. We're living in such a fascinating time that when you say what's going on in your life, it's more like what's not going on in my life. I think that's the era that we live in. And what I mean by that is being laser focused or zoning on one thing. I don't see that as the most productive way of growth, building, or just the law of the land for the future. I think that you have to be multifaceted and multi-invested because of the way life is moving right now.
Mm-hmm. So you said that you're creating time and space.
Yeah.
Right? What do you mean by that? How do you, I think time is the thing that everyone wishes they had more of. So
for sure.
How are you creating it?
So I'll share with you, and I'm going to have to credit the 51 laws because this applies in there. But one thing is, and you recall this, Matt, back in, 2018, 2019, we got a chance to connect with Grant, and we did a podcast with him. Mm-hmm. And one of the questions that I asked him was, what do you do with your 168? And we still carry that number 168. Thanks to Eric Lewis, Buford Lewis, the man gave me the skills of applying 168 versus 24 hours to my schedule. Years ago, over a decade ago. And
168 being the number of hours in a week.
Yeah. So anytime you hear, what are you doing with your 168? People know that's how much time we have in a week. Mm-hmm. And if you recall, when we interviewed Grant, I asked him, what do you do with your 168? Do you remember what his answer was?
He's like, I have 32,000 or some insane number.
With no hesitation, he said, I'm running 10,000 plus. He said, I'm running 10,000, or he said, I'm running 10,000 plus, or he said, I'm running over 10,000. That was what he said. And when he gave me that answer, it was like an instant, like, boom, that here I am trying to, and that solidifies his belief in 10Xing and how he multiplies with compound growth. But, here I am trying to find a few extra hours or maybe get an extra workout here, read an extra book here. And then here is his response saying, I'm running 10,000 plus. So that just completely changed the way I saw things, of like trying to do as much as you can with the time you have and start to learn about, hey, let's just create more time. Mm-hmm. Let's just create more time. And that's what he does.
Right.
I mean, he doesn't create longevity. He creates more time, meaning there's more production you can get done within that minute than you could if you didn't apply some of his methodologies.
Right. But now his 10,000 hours he's running a week is referring to like delegation and people, teams, and scale and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, you nailed it. So everything that we do, everything that I do right now, it has to apply with, and I picked this up from Tom Ferry, one of my coaches, Tom Ferry, shout out to Tom, but the highest and best use of your time. So whatever that I'm involved in, when I say that I'm involved in some of the businesses that I coach and consult, the executives, I always share with them that if it doesn't involve these 4 areas, then it's not worth your time. And I'll tell you what those 4 areas. If it doesn't involve these 4 areas, it's not worth your time. And if you're applying your time to anything outside these 4 areas, I don't want to say you're losing, but you're not being as productive as you should or could be. And I'm very sensitive to say I'm very sensitive to say that I'm not saying you're losing, because some people, they get easily offended. But if you see this opportunity that we have as an opportunity to grow while helping others or to leave a greater impact, then the impact that you failed to leave behind, you kind of, it was lost.
Right.
That's why I'm sensitive to not, say you lost, but it was lost. It was opportunities that you didn't take advantage of. And the highest and best use of your time, if it doesn't involve these 4 things, do you want to take a guess of what they are? Or you want me to just give them to you? You probably apply most of them already.
If these 4 things are not one of the things taking your time.
Yeah, like if the task or the event or the scenario, whatever it is, the expected outcome that you want to create, if it doesn't involve one of these 4 things, then you have to find a different way to get it done where it doesn't require your time.
Right.
Do you know what those 4 things are?
I don't know that I know all 4 of them, but I definitely think...
No, I'm playing. I'm playing. So let's take a shot at it.
Well, I think that there's definitely like a short list of things that have to be done by you.
Say it, bro. Let's go. There's 4.
Well, if it's not impacting, let's say, your physical health.
Okay, so let me stop you, because you're right. If you had to, like, from a macro, try to identify what these 4 things are, you're right. And I'm gonna try to make it smaller, more of a I did this, but more of a less wide net.
Okay.
But the 4 things is, one is that if it doesn't require your voice. Okay. Like your voice, which now we're actually moving towards an era to where things won't require your voice anymore, and we'll talk about that. The Sora podcast, check it out. But if it requires your voice, you got to be present, you got to be there, you got to be engaged. If it doesn't require your voice, then it goes down on the list of maybe it's not worth your time. Like not that it's not worth your time, but it's not worth your involvement, you personally being engaged. I'm all about delegating. I'm all about outsourcing.
Right.
But meaning you don't have to be part of it.
Right.
The second is that if it doesn't involve your physical presence, like meaning your face, they have to see you, then you have to find a way that it's done in a different manner. The third is that if it doesn't require your energy, meaning your what up, let's do it, hey, it's good to see you, or no, I'm sorry, right? Like that
personality.
Energy. Yeah, your energy.
Yeah.
If it doesn't require your energy. And then the fourth is that if it doesn't require your physical touch, like if you don't have to be handshaking, negotiating a deal in person, etc. If it doesn't involve those 4 things and you're doing them, you're not applying the highest and best use of your time. Like, these are small little nuggets that will add 10 to 20, 30x to your productivity within weeks to months of applying. And then you imagine doing that for years. It's incredible.
So how do you trust someone to give it? Because if it's got to get done,
yeah,
you're giving it to someone else,
yeah, or
you're giving it to some technology, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
In today's day and age, do you think it's better to give it to another human or to give it to AI technology? Absolutely technology. Let me share with anyone who thinks that people will be better than technology. I'm going to share with you 2 specific examples that we could look at. One is there was a Harvard study where they took the results of patients being misdiagnosed, the percentage of misdiagnosis by doctors. And don't quote me on the percentage, but it was around 76 to under 80% of a successful diagnosis rate on diagnosing a patient's ailment. A physician so 20% of the time they're wrong?
Yeah, 20 to 25, maybe 27. Okay. As a matter of fact, Rich, you might be able to pull that up. Guys, we're in a studio here. This is absolutely incredible. We might be able to have Rich pull up exactly that Harvard study to see what the percentage is, and we're going to confirm that. But they first had the doctors diagnose patients, and they took the statistics of misdiagnosis, which was roughly 20 to 25%. Then they took the use of doctors using AI, leveraging AI, and diagnosing patients, and it grew to like 82, 84%. So it was higher with physicians using AI.
Wow.
1 in 20 adult outpatients are misdiagnosed.
Boom.
1 in 20.
3% of hospitalized patients experience a diagnostic error.
Team, 23% right now are experiencing a diagnostic error. Told you we're in a real, this studio is dope, bro. We got live pulling up the stats. Thank you to my man Rich out there, by the way. Tap, follow, make sure you connect with him. But 23% are misdiagnosed. Then they did doctors with AI, and it was like 82, 84% success rate. Then they took AI alone, and it was like 87 to 89, maybe 90. So that was one example. So that example said, hey, humans are bringing error to the table. They're not bringing value in that sector. Then the second example, which most people will relate to now, is if you call customer service reps or even go to like needing a person to help you, unfortunately, it's not a specific age group, but the younger generations or the folks that grew up with this tech era that required a lot less personal interaction and socialization, it's more difficult to be able to get them to complete the tasks successfully without a lot more explanation or challenges than it is to do it through an automated service or service or similar. Like for example, Neiman Marcus, they use a technology from Salesforce, and their rep, when you call them for assistance, is Sophia. So everyone who calls Neiman Marcus, they're working with Sophia.
Right.
Nordstrom is embracing the same tech, and so are some other retail services. But this is where it's going. And here's an example of why you delegate and how technology is going to be of greater value than the person in most tasks. Yeah. Now, of course, if you need a plumber, no, you don't call AI. You need a plumber, dude.
Right.
And that's why they're making more money. You need a welder, they're making more money.
Right. But those people are probably using AI tools to like help them diagnose problem or look up things, right? Like they're leveraging it even though they're not replaced by it.
They are. I mean, depending on their business, they are. But most of them, they're probably getting out there, boots on the ground, physical labor, getting it done.
Right. Or maybe they're using it on the marketing end to get attention.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or like the business operations side.
Absolutely. Yep.
So are those 4 things you mentioned, is that in the editor's copy? Is that one of the
not broken down to those 4 because I gave you 51 laws in there. So what I just shared with you was just one of many. But no, the accumulation of those laws helps you compound and be much more productive, excel your time, excel your results. It's just and that's why it's such a thin read, because I didn't fill it with BS and stories and try to like fluff it up.
Right.
I wanted to get the quickest read with the most amount of value in the short amount of time that everyone can apply.
Yeah, well, I almost look at this book as like I keep it here in the office and studio, and like it's use case. You could read it cover to cover, but it's great to pull from. Yeah. And go in and grab and say, okay, like Law 35, the importance of personal branding and leadership.
Everything. Bro, everything. Show me one guy or business who doesn't have a personal brand and is crushing it. Let me learn about him.
Yeah, well, you can't. He doesn't have a personal brand.
Bingo.
Or missionaries versus mercenaries.
Oh man, shout out to Rudy Sanchez. Shout out to Rudy Sanchez, guys. You know, he's one of my good friends, business colleagues, and founder of Smash Gyms, founder of Social Fitness Network, and most recently acquired the website coaches.com. Congratulations. I'm so proud of him. For those of you guys that don't know this story, coach.com is owned by Coach, the bag company. The retail clothing, or not clothing, but the bag company. Yeah. So coaches.com, I'm not sure how much of this I can explain without getting trouble. But coaches.com is owned by some entity, and it rhymes with ooh, okay, and they own coaches.com. I don't know if y'all picked that up, but you know who that is or no? No? Did y'all not see the commercials back then when they were running commercials for that one browsing company? Yeah. Right, so anyway, coaches.com was owned by this company, and people are putting bids in there, and my man Rudy Sanchez, hey, the winning bid. The guy acquired coaches.com, and it's very new in the making, but it's a big deal because you could just imagine where that domain can take you.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. So back to we are missionaries versus mercenaries, is in having dialogue back and forth and speaking about growth success and being able to do it quicker, better, stronger with a greater foundation, helping more folks. One of the mindset or shifts we need to make was, as leaders, you're missionaries, you're not mercenaries. And when you recognize that, my coach Tom will always say, you won't have commission breath. You'll be more about empathy and more vulnerable to taking care of your clients' needs than you are to just making the dollar.
What's going on, everyone? Today's episode was brought to you by Policy Engineer Insurance Solutions, a company that my brother and I own and are passionate about helping people with what we call the stable table planning, health, wealth, and legacy planning to give you a stable, predictable retirement. If you want to know more about how we do what we do and what areas we can serve you in, visit policyengineer.com. Well, I've been fortunate enough to actually be with you through the journey of acquiring some of these through 10 years of building business together.
Thank you for that, bro. You're amazing.
And some of them came, well before me. Let's grab another random one out of here.
Can y'all turn the heater up in this? It is freezing up in here, bro.
It's like a
Dude, it's like a cold, y'all.
Keeps you paying attention.
Next guest, bring a sweater with you.
All right, look, law 24, incremental versus exponential, choosing a growth trajectory. What does this law mean to you?
Incremental versus exponential, team. So here's what I'm talking about. When I was first starting in sales, it was all about 3, 4, 5, 12% growth, really small numbers. We're now living in an era to where you have to think compound. You can't think about incremental. So no matter how much you're growing now, there is multiple facets to compoundingly add to the growth streams. Like you can shoot out any industry, and I'll give you an idea of incremental versus exponential growth in that industry.
Any industry.
Construction. So here you are in construction, and by the way, I'm a licensed general contractor, so I'm very familiar with this field. But in construction, you could specialize in, for example, decks. You could specialize in painting. You could specialize in ADUs, whatever it is, and you could incrementally try to grow in that one area. Or you could incrementally grow in like 100 areas of construction, and together that would yield to compound growth. So for example, you still focus on the ADU side, but then you add doing windows, you add doing paint, you add doing driveway, you go do epoxy, floors in the garage. You're going to add a second story to a house. You'll maybe add some landscaping here and there. And if you guys are listening as a GC saying, oh man, you're spread too thin, this is now why your business falls apart, it gets messy. This is why you need help. This is why you need a strategic advisor, because there's tools that you can apply that's going to help you automate and add these other segments of your business, because that license is golden. Team, if you have a general contractor's license, I don't want to say this the wrong way, but that's the equivalent of having a blank check that you get to sign. That's what I'm going to let you know right now. It is probably one of the greatest licenses to hold.
Wow. Now, being someone in financial services for a long time.
Yeah.
How do you compare that license and general contractor's license?
I don't compare them other in the sense that they both need one another. I mean, a successful financial advisor is hopefully building homes, building ADUs, building properties, building philanthropic opportunities that they're giving away to others. I don't know what it is, but you're going to need a general contractor. And a general contractor who's making really good money should have a great financial advisor. They should protect their family. They should have all the insurances in place: disability, long-term care, critical illness, life insurance, additional investments. Absolutely, they both need one another. But if you're asking me, how do you compare the two when it comes to the...
You said it's a great... I've heard you say before, right, when we were at least recruiting and building together on that side, that it's $300, you get into financial services and it's limitless income, and
Absolutely.
It's an opportunity that's endless.
Absolutely. I still believe that to be true. I'm not putting the two... I'm not saying, hey, if you can get one or the other, which one should you go? You should go get the one that's going to make you the happiest to apply the activities behind making that license successful. So if you love building things and physically getting your hands wet, or looking over blueprints and helping design and construct, and get involved in that. If you like money, or want to learn the language of money, because money is, in my opinion, is the most important language to speak fluently, then I would get a license in that. Even if you're not going to be a successful financial advisor or want to go become pursuing financial advisory or insurance, go look up what the educational requirements are to get that license. And if you can afford it, you have the time, learn it and get it. I'm a certified personal trainer. I mean, you guys can't see me, and if you guys can't see my abs and my hamstrings, but they're pretty ripped and shredded. But I went and got licensed because I got sick of my buddy. Shout out to Sonny. He was telling me how to do my workouts at the gym, and we would argue. I'm like, dude, nah, man. Nah, I got to do it this way. He's like, you don't. And by the way, the guy knows what he's talking about. But I said, if I don't have credibility, I can't challenge him in all the movements and the workouts he's telling me to apply. So I went and I got my CPT. I wasn't getting my license because I wanted to build a business out of it. I wanted to understand fitness. I wanted to be certified and speak the language of personal training and have something to back it.
How long did that take?
It took me like probably 6 weeks to 2 months. I mean, some people will probably spend a year or two to do it, but my background is physiology. So I got a degree from San Francisco State in science, physiology. So a lot of the biology and the science behind building and how our body works was familiar to me.
I see.
Yeah.
Recap.
But I'll tell you guys, if you guys want to know a good workout hack, I'm going to tell you right now. And if you guys are working out, especially the men out there and even the women, but the men, if you're not getting shredded or seeing definition, I'm going to tell you, start doing way more reps. Burn out. Stop trying to do this 10, 12, 15. Like if you're trying to get mass, then yeah, you do heavy as you can with low reps. But if you want to get shredded, you want to be lean, then start doing like 18 to 30 reps of the weights. Like take a lighter weight and hit 30, hit 40.
Don't worry about the optics.
Don't worry about the optics.
Yeah, like what it looks like with all the plates on there.
No, yeah. Thanks for clarifying that. Yeah, don't worry about the optics, dude. Take like 20 to 30 pound dumbbells, 40 pound dumbbells. Do flat bench and do 40, do 35. And if you feel fine, take a 30-second to 1 minute break. Do it again. Do 3 sets of that. Tell me how you feel after 100 bench presses at 40 pound dumbbells. You'll feel great, dude. And you get the pump. You do that for that 100-pound push-up challenge is real, dude. I don't know if you're familiar with that. But if you do 100 pound, not 100 pounds, 100 push-up challenge, yo. Yeah. This is how much fun we're having in here, or it's how cold it is, y'all. My brain is, you know, when it gets colder, your blood starts to flow slower. My brain, I can feel the blood flowing slower, y'all. But let me go back. Yeah, this is wild. Let me go back to the push-ups. If you do 100 push-ups a day, and you do it for 90 days, you will be in such good physical shape. Even if right now you're chubby, got extra skin, some tubble up, whatever it is you got on there. Because I got some, all right? And I'm not talking smack. And here's the hack. You got to do 10 increments of 10 push-ups every day in between your downtime. Just do 10. Like you do 10, take a break, do 10, do that through the day. You got 100. You'll be shredded.
That's better than if you just knock out 100.
I mean, shit, if you can knock out 100, do that, like bro. Damn, 40. Sounds like David Goggins up in here, y'all. You got that, people's advisor, yo.
If you could do 25.
This guy just challenged anyone to do 100 push-ups nonstop. If you could do that, I can't. Come out here to the Beyond the Horizon studio.
Before we
let's
leave
see
today.
that. Nate, let's see. I don't know.
76 is my max.
Can you do 100 push-ups nonstop?
76 is my max push-ups I've ever done straight.
And guys, if you don't know, Matt did like a 42-mile run through Catalina Island. Was it 42 miles?
Yeah, 40.
40-mile marathon, y'all. Like, look this guy up real quick. I just throw that in there.
Yeah, thank you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think I did.
So going back though, you're talking about the licenses, the language.
Well, so I have found now, being in career, right, like out of high school, college, 20 years working, it seems like most people fall into something. And then they're in that for a long time, including myself. I fell into financial services, right? It sort of found me, and this is my 17th year in financial services. It's my main bread and butter. Sure, I have little things here or there, but for a long time, I think that was your main bread and butter was running, and we'll get through the history of things, but you've always talked about living life by design. That's probably the one phrase that's stuck the most, and that I feel like I've repeated to other people that I got from you, was to live life by design, not by default.
Right on.
But I think most people live life by default. Either, I don't know why. I want to unpack it from your perspective. Why do you think most people just live by default? Is it fear? Is it lack of knowing what to do next? Is it why is it that way?
Many reasons, but one is it's your environment has a lot to do with it. You know, who you listen to, what you keep hearing on repeat, what it is you're feeding yourself. Also, your mindset. Are you a consumer Like, and when I say a consumer, meaning like, are you just intaking and you're not giving anything to create an output? These are some of the main differentiators that you'll recognize in people who understand how to predict their futures and people who live by default. You know, you have to ask yourself this question: do you know how to predict your future? And we know how. But when someone first asked me that question, I thought it was like a bogus question. I was like, you can't predict the future. What am I, Nostradamus? What am I, a fortune teller? And I don't believe in fortune tellers. But I mean, like, can you predict your future? And I asked you, can you, Matt?
Yeah, I think to some degree.
Yeah, to some degree we can. But like, if you were to give a quick answer on how do we do it, what's our answer? How we predict our future?
Our habits predict our future.
Yeah, our habits. You know, I remember that I learned the way to predict your future is to create it. Just write that down. If you're listening, if you're driving, pull over right now. Write that down, y'all. If you're driving, listening, pull over. And the way to predict your future is to create it. And it sounds more difficult than it is. But create it means start making the decisions that's going to allow you to be where you want to be in the next 10 minutes, and the next 1 hour, and the next 5 hours, and the next day, and the next week. You make those decisions. Like, don't like wait for the message to tell you, hey, go do this now.
Mm-hmm. So for instance, I know that there's a lot of people out there who probably have thought of wanting to write a book.
Yeah.
Right?
Right on.
Why did you want to write this book? Why did you put this into your future? How long ago did you author it? Did it release last year?
This book got dropped on February 14th, 2025.
Almost a year.
Yeah, it was almost a year. It got dropped. Jeff Bezos approved it. Thank you, Jeff Bezos. Shout out to Bezos, my publisher, guys. Jeff Bezos approved it February 14th on Amazon.
The editor's
exclusive.
copy, you guys.
The editor's copy. So let me share with you. The way this book came about is I spent years compiling notes of one-off details that made changes in my career. And they were all on my phone, and they were stacked. And every time I get a new phone, these notes would carry over to the new phone. And
this is from like the Nextel Chirp days?
This
or
is
what? Like
this
how
is,
far back?
From the Motorola StarTech days. So you were close. Back then, it took a long time to write a note in that thing too, because every number was 3 letters.
This was the what do they call that? That type of texting?
I don't know, man. We were just always trying to get an extra battery on that phone because it died so quick. But what happened was that these notes compiled, and when I got to over 50, I said, you know what? It's time to publish these details.
This is over how long? 20 years? 15 years?
Probably 12 to 15 years,
okay.
yeah. 12 to 15 years, yeah. Once I started scaling and just seeing greater opportunity from the changes I was making, I was like, I got to share this. I got to share it. Like, we don't come up by retaining knowledge for ourselves.
Right.
Zero. Anyone who's listening, you're like, oh, this is so good, I got to keep it to myself. That's temporary. Like,
you have no idea. Your lid, right?
Amen. Yeah, you just said that the best. Yeah, you summarized it.
Is the law of the lid in here?
No, because the law of the lid. Shout out to John Maxwell. So we didn't
take that one.
No, I didn't republish his law.
What about the process? Like, is it hard to write a book and get it published and get it out there and get it for sale and like
everything is as easy or as difficult as you want to make it. To me, no, it is not hard at all. Mm-hmm. Nothing. There is nothing hard that you want to do in this life that you are committed to doing. Mm-hmm. What is hard for you to accomplish is anything you're interested in.
What's hard to accomplish is what you're interested in?
Yeah, whatever you're interested in becomes hard to accomplish, but whatever you're committed to doing isn't difficult.
I see. And that's the difference between the level of interest and commitment.
Check right there. I just shared with you one of the laws right there. Like, if you think about, you guys want to work out, if you're committed to working out, I promise you, 90 days, you look different than you do today, or you've already gone through that change. But if you're interested in working out, you look the same with the gym membership. You look the same today as 90 days ago. You just got a gym membership.
Right. If only thinking about it got you in shape.
Well, yeah, I mean, here's the difference. Well, if I was to ask you, what's the difference between interested and committed, if you could define that for me?
Committed, you're going to do it whether you feel like it or not.
Yeah.
And you're going to hold to whatever it was that you said you were going to do, regardless of the emotion.
That's it.
I heard it said that regardless of your circumstance, your circumstance doesn't change your responsibility. So when you make a commitment to something, there's responsibilities that come with that commitment, and no matter how much your circumstances change, it doesn't change the responsibility to the commitment.
Well said. You guys write that. I'll summarize what he just said as if you are interested, you will do it when it's convenient. When you are committed, you will do it no matter what. Mm-hmm. Summarizing what you just said, that was awesome.
That's a good summary.
Well, you just said it, yeah.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
good.
Thanks.
So this is the man that I know with the most businesses. I know there are other businesses, right? But so you're an author. You are a Tom Ferry coach, correct?
Shout out to Tom Ferry, yeah.
So you're coached by Tom, but you also coach other real estate agents, right?
Yeah, I have a very small pool of real estate agents that I'll coach, specifically just because what I talk about with my clients are I would consider advanced level. So when you're brand new, it's a little difficult to comprehend and apply what we talk about. So I have a very short list of folks that I'll consult with through Tom.
Mm-hmm. Now, I want to talk about the story.
And by the way, I just say this because if you want to be a Tom Ferry coach, you got to be committed to coaching. It's not like you have all these businesses. I want to.
Yeah, but these we'll talk about these businesses. But the businesses he has, the beauty of it is, like you said, you've created time. So just because you have the business doesn't mean you're. You have a saying about being a practitioner and not. And I would imagine you're not a practitioner in every business you own, but you have people who are practitioners. For example, you own a vehicle wrapping company, right? You're not wrapping vehicles and tinting windows yourself. Maybe you got in there and did it a little bit to say you did, but you're not the guy on the weekends who's wrapping all.
No. We did, and we exited from that business, by the way, because every business you get into, step 8, by the way, is the exit. So thanks for mentioning that, Matt. We launched a wrap shop, Callus Wraps, and we exited that business as well, because once you get the clients in, you get some multiples on there and you have interested buyers that don't want to start a business from scratch, but want to take a business from, like, let's say level 4 to level 5, they're willing to pay premium for that.
Right.
So yeah, you're correct. And I love cars. I always wanted to wrap my car. I see that cars look cool when they get wrapped, and I just did a little bit of some business analysis on the wrap space, and I saw that there is a growing need for that space, and there was opportunity. And it was way before, this is what's amazing, this is way before the current era now, to where a lot of car manufacturers, they have wrap agreements with national wrap installers to customize the delivery of your car brand new. For example, the ID Buzz, you order it wrapped, or you get a plain one, and that's why you see these two-tone wraps, because they're wrapped.
Right.
And the second one is Tesla. All the Cybertrucks now, you can order them to wrap the color you want. You don't get them painted that color anymore.
Right.
And it's crazy because when we started our business, it was like a year or two before this era, and I know that our exit has a lot to do with the industry going this way, that it created value for our business for people to come in and swoop up, because it already had the operations and the systems created in there.
Have you seen that new truck company, Slate?
Yeah.
The little mini.
Very cool.
Very cool. They're all vehicle wrapped too. You
Very
can
cool.
pick like all these different
Very
things.
cool. Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah, I think I don't know if Amazon's part of that. Are they? Okay.
I don't think so.
They have a truck. Amazon's coming out with a car though.
They might have some like money in it from the back end, but I don't think they like found
very
it.
Cool though. Yeah, Slate's very cool.
So back to the Tom Ferry. Like, those of you who don't know who Tom Ferry is, right? He's like the most successful real estate coach in like all of history.
Tom Ferry's been the #1 real estate coach or business coach for probably over a decade. I mean, the guy's internationally ill with it.
If you don't know who he is, just drive the 55 South right before the 405 entrance, and he has branded permanently his name on the side of a building.
The guy's a G. And his headquarters is in Texas too, so the guy's everywhere.
So here's the thing. One thing that I know about you is that if there is a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the story, how you met Tom Ferry.
Oh man, that's a crazy story. Let me give you a short, quick version of it. My mom is a big Tom Ferry fan, or was a big Tom Ferry fan, and I didn't know who Tom was. But growing up, my mom was listening to his father, Mike Ferry, on cassette, because Mike Ferry is like the OG of real estate coaching, and Tom started his own coaching company after years working with his father. But my mom was originally a Mike Ferry client and fan. And I remember she gave me a cassette, and I put this on my Instagram, but she gave me a cassette about how to become a listing expert. because I would take my mom's cassettes after she was done using them, and I would dub rap songs or record the radio on them. Right? You put for those of you that have no idea what cassettes are, and those that do, we would put a piece of Scotch tape on the record tab that they'd break off when you'd buy the cassettes from the distributors. You'd put a piece of Scotch tape on there, and you'd be able to dub on them. So I would take the cassettes that my mom was no longer listening to, and she had graduated from these early programs, and I would record rap songs on there. So I don't know what it was, but I found this Mike Ferry cassette, and I think Mike Jones is playing on there now. It's like, Mike Jones, shout out to Mike Jones. Back then you didn't know me. So my mom is a big fan of Mike Ferry. She gets introduced to Tom Ferry. And as I'm excelling in financial services, she keeps saying, Sina, you need friends like Tom Ferry in your network. You need friends like Tom Ferry. Like my mom, shout out to my mom, amazing lady. She always wanted the best. She wanted us to have the best, be around the best, and would do anything to motivate us to go towards that direction. And I was like, Mom, I don't know who Tom Ferry is. And obviously I have more of an ego then. So I'm like, I don't know who this guy is, but he sounds great. I'm happy he's helping you. Once I want to get more involved in coaching and develop in that area, I'll look him up. So fast forward, this is probably like conversations for years from like, I don't know, early 2000, late 90s, all the way to 2018. But we're having these conversations, and fast forward, my mom goes to like some Tom Ferry summit, and Tom always has a window of time.
We were at.
Well, no, this is before that. So my mom goes to the Tom Ferry summit, and Tom always has Q&A time before or after his presentations at his summit. Mm-hmm. And people get in line behind the mic and they ask Tom questions about their business. Right. And this is like in a big, Coliseum or event center with like 15, 20,000, 30,000 attendees. They get in line to ask questions. And when it gets my mom's turn, she says, Tom, who makes your shoes? What shoes do you wear? And this is what's ironic about the whole story. But Tom, like, just baffled of like, what kind of question is this, or what's the relevance of it? He answers her and says, my shoes are Lanvas. Why do you ask? And she said, well, I'd like to get a pair for my son so he knows what it's like to walk in your shoes. And that's what's wild, because I didn't know she had this whole exchange with him. But like a couple weeks after that summit, a pair of Lanvas were mailed to my house, and I didn't know what Lanvas are. Lanvans. See, I don't even know how to pronounce them correctly today. But the box comes to my house. I open up this really nice, expensive looking Converse sneaker. The smell of leather and like the quality, the weight is like next level. Shout out if y'all looking for someone to rock them. I'm rocking a pair right now, actually.
That's why you wore them, right? For the story.
Dude, not really, but shout out to Tom and the influence. But I get this pair of shoes from my mom, and I wear them, and I'm like not into designer shoes or anything at all like that. And I'm like, this is crazy just to rock such expensive shoes. But I rock these shoes and stuff, wearing these shoes, feeling all better, fly. And fast forward 2018, Gary Vee has an event called Agent 2021. What a G. Shout out to Gary Vaynerchuk, dude. And plug him on this podcast for him to know the influence that he had on all these practitioners 3 years before the title of his event. Like, to learn everything we did Agent 2021 in 2018 couldn't have been greater for us, because COVID hit in 2020. So we learned everything we needed to apply and master and deploy almost like a year before we needed to do it because of COVID, and we were already ready, which is amazing. But at Agent 2021, as one of the speakers for the financial services space, we go to the event, and Tom Ferry's there, Frisella's there, some other folks are there, and Tom Ferry was the keynote speaker for real estate. So while we were there, I was like, oh my goodness, like the fact that I'm speaking on the same caliber event as Tom Ferry, I got to go and introduce myself to this man. And I got to let my mom know, hey, I finally ran into your best friend and buddy, Tom Ferry. And that's how I met him. So at Agent 2021, on the 50-yard line of the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami with you were there, Chris was there, our team was there. I walked up to Tom, and he had just a swarm of people, want to take pictures with him, get his autograph with him. The guy's a superstar. But I walked up with Tom, introduced myself, and I shared that story with him about the shoes. And he immediately stopped and said, man, I know exactly who your mom is, Sina. Get her on a FaceTime. And that's how we connected. Amazing. So shout out to my mom. And you guys, these small moments of being uncomfortable will make a difference, because my mom was probably uncomfortable asking him in front of everybody,
Right.
like, what kind of shoes do you wear?
Yeah. Actually, I know your mom. She wasn't uncomfortable asking this question.
What do you mean, you know my mom?
Well, I know. I remember that we got like front row seats to the jazz concert in Chicago.
She's got connections,
We're
bro.
we're there. She goes, hold on, I'll get us in. She goes to the front. Next thing you know, she's waving us down, right? And there's this like jazz concert. There's thousands of people there. And she goes, go sit down. We walk, we're in like the second row and it's in Millennium Park.
Good memory.
We sit down and we're watching the show, we're hanging out, whatever. We didn't have tickets or nothing. And I go over and I'm like, Manzar, what'd you say? How do we get in here? And she's like, oh, I just told that guy. I said, Steve said that we come in this entrance right here and then we go sit up there in the front or whatever. And when he said, who's Steve? I said, I don't know. Do you want me to bring him here so you can find out? And then the guy goes, no. And he lets us in. And I'm like, this is crazy.
That's crazy. It is crazy. Yeah, man. That's
amazing
crazy.
Story.
Yeah.
So you talk about your mom.
She predicted her future at that moment.
She did. That we were all going to sit right there.
Yeah, she did.
You talk about your mom. You talk about, she always wanted the best for you, stuff like that. So like being a super rich kid in the Bay Area, growing up with everything and all of the opportunities and like kind of the whole connection to everything, that made life easier to get where you are, right?
Oh yeah, amen, man. It's
just
so.
kidding.
I know I'm just kidding, but it's so amazing when you say that. I smile because I really did have everything, and in hindsight, yeah, we're all rich. I believe that we all have the ability to recognize that we're rich through mindset. Wealth is something else.
Yeah.
So did I grow up rich? Absolutely. And when I say rich, I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about the right mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I bring that up and I set it up that way, obviously, because I know not that you didn't have those things, but there's a lot of people who didn't come from wealth.
Yeah.
And didn't come from an abundance of money, who believe that like their destiny is where they came from. Mm-hmm. And I think that, if we go all the way back, what's your heritage? When did your mom come to America?
She came to America in 79, and I was born. And then we went back to Iran. And then she came back here in 1983, because 79, when I was born, we went back to Iran. It was the beginning of the revolution. It didn't get better. So by 83, she was out. She moved. And shout out to all the people of Iran, because while we're having this discussion, it's still 47 years later, turmoil in that country.
Yeah.
And she moved to the States in 1983. We moved to Northridge. We lived in we rented a 1-bedroom in a 2-bedroom apartment. And it was pretty cool. It was my mom, my sister, myself in Northridge. Very cool.
And she had that attitude of like, she's going to predict the future. She's going to make these things happen. Nothing was holding her back, right?
Yeah, I think in hindsight, it's the Persian female mentality, like the lioness mentality, the ones that had to reroute themselves after the revolution or their entire lives got disrupted. Those that overcame that adversity, they became almost unstoppable, because I can't even imagine what it was like to have to go through that, especially if you have kids. Mm-hmm. And I think that because someone overcame that triumph and challenge, everything else might really be easy for them.
Because I don't know if she exited it, but last time we talked, she was working one of the #1 property management company in the Bay Area.
Oh yeah, she still has that. Yeah, Azari Property Management. It's in the Bay, #1, over 1,1600 units.
So that's from Jack in the Box, broken English.
Good memory, man. Yeah.
To one of them, or the most successful #1 property management in San Francisco.
Yeah, and she started her business when she was 52. So I just want to share that with you guys. At 52 years old, she chose to be an entrepreneur and said, I'm going to leave corporate. I'm going to leave sick day, payday, 401k, all the other stuff that's dangled in front of us. She left that at 52 and said, I'm going to start a business. And she started a property management company.
A lot of rejection and objection in her way, probably.
Oh, yeah, man. In the beginning, she barely made any money, started out of her living room. Her leads were created off of Craigslist in the beginning, didn't have the money to market. And now it's a whole other story.
Isn't it crazy? Craigslist is the same website ever, has never changed.
It's I don't know. It's like become like 90% scammers though.
I know.
On there now.
So. It's one of the most profitable companies in existence. There's like there's like the original like 12 or 13 employees or something like that.
Yeah.
And I saw this whole write-up.
Well, Craig, man, Craig started, and he's from the Bay.
Right.
So we were from the Bay, and Craigslist was like the biggest tool before, right after the Penny Saver. It was the biggest tool, and it wasn't everywhere. Like, so we had a huge advantage in the Bay using that thing, because like he had like the cities of the Bay Area on there. Now he has counties across the country, but back then you'd log on and it was like the cities.
So having all this, like, you know, your mom paving the way, sure, giving you everything, and obviously the mindset was the most important thing. I mean, I think that's what gave you the ability to really keep lily padding and having bigger successes and accomplishments.
It's everything.
And we'll talk about all mindset in a little bit. But how hard was it for you to go against her grain or recommendation? Or, because I know the story when you were getting into financial services, I don't know that it was completely supported, right?
It wasn't supported.
You're going. So how was that? How did you muster up that courage to go, you know what, I know that I'm supposed to do this, or I'm going to challenge against, like,
I didn't know that I'm supposed to do this, but one thing that fires me up is I hate it when people don't believe in what I believe I can do. And if I care about those people, it motivates me more to disprove them. And it's not to disprove them to say that they're wrong. It motivates me more to disprove them so I know that I'm right.
Okay.
So it's more important for me, for my satisfaction, than to be like, I told you so. It's more for me to tell myself, I told myself so. And anyone who wants to pursue something that fires them up or wants more for themselves, I'll tell you, at the end of the day, you have to own that outcome and what it is life looks like for you. And I respect and appreciate everything that my mom did and told me. And I believe in hindsight, her lack of support motivated me to even do more than I would have done. Because it's easy to get complacent in commission sales when you make good money. It's very easy. And that's one thing that she never allowed me or allowed my sister and I to become. She never allowed us to become complacent. Still to this day, she's not complacent. She still pushes herself to do more. And no matter how successful we become or success stories we share or we want to celebrate, the reminder is that there's still more impact that you can leave behind while you're here.
When did you feel a shift to go from what you could do for you to what you could do for others?
I learned that naturally, I always grew up recognizing that teams win. Like there was no solo winner in anything that I was ever watched or got involved in. Like I didn't grow up watching like the best chess champion. I didn't grow up watching the fastest swimmer. Like I grew up watching sports.
Team sports.
Team sports. Yeah, I should make that clear because being a swimmer is a sport, but like a team sport. So everything was about assists and coaching and practicing and regrouping. And when I say practicing, I mean practicing as a group, not like you getting better doing drills alone.
Right.
And witnessing that, I was just gravitated towards doing things with other people. I never saw it as a solo game. You know, I recognized early when I started driving at 16, I couldn't wait to drive. I saw driving as a sport, and I know that to many people it's a trip, but I said, you know what, the largest sport that we're all partaking in every day that we might not recognize is driving, because we're all on the road, on the freeway, on the highway, wherever we are all running our play with the assumption that our teammates that are the other drivers around us are going to run their play, and we know what their play is. And that's a successful outcome.
Yeah.
So like I compare successful like group activities to business, and even in financial services, there was only so much I could do as an individual producer, as an agent. So after I started hitting certain levels of success, my upline, my manager, my leadership team, they said, hey, Sina, would you mind training other folks? And shout out to Roya Mohammadi. She recruited me in the insurance business. But she said, hey, do you want to train other folks? Do you want to help other people become as good, if not better, than you are? And I just simply asked, well, what's in it for me? Just because I wanted to know what's going to motivate me to even give more than I would selflessly. And I learned about overrides, and I learned about creating additional growth beyond what I could do alone. And that reinforced it. So training other people. And then once I started training other people, I became better myself. Every time I would teach something that I learned, I became better. Mm-hmm. And I just started to enjoy and appreciate seeing other people become super successful, because that became a form of gratitude that I felt I was indirectly or directly a part of. Mm-hmm. And that's like another level of success.
Do you think leadership is something that's more taught or more like inherent? Like people are born, maybe not born, but like.
Absolutely, it's taught. It's absolutely. If you are a crummy leader right now, I'll tell you, you don't read enough books. You're not consuming the right content. You're not failing forward. You're not taking enough chances. You're not taking enough tests. You're not running enough tests to see how to become better. Leadership is constantly modifying and adjusting and pivoting and failing forward. That's leadership. Like if you're not doing those things, you're not a leader if you just plug into an equation and you're stagnant in the equation. You won't be leading for long, because there's people that are following you that will supersede you, that wants more for themselves, and they maybe even want more for you. And if they do, you got to get out the way. Mm-hmm. So no, I don't believe you're born a leader. I think that's a great way to discredit the ones that work their ass off to become good ones.
Mm-hmm. I think that's
a
pretty good way to sum it up.
Oh yeah.
I mean, your environment might or your upbringing, your parents, the people around you, if they see and try to help mold you into leadership. Some people start maybe a little more ahead than others, but all of it is.
I agree.
And do you think a good leader can become a bad leader, or
Absolutely.
fall back like they were and get too
comfortable?
comfortable?
The great leaders will become a bad leader when usually a couple things happen. I've witnessed this, and that's where you kind of recognize if you're following these individuals, you might have hit your lid, you might have hit the cap, and you got to pivot and adjust yourself. But the great leaders that become bad leaders are twofold. One is they become very greedy, because really good leaders, they have a lot of success. Usually they have a lot of financial success, a lot of notoriety, they're recognized, and that feeds their ego. And sometimes when your ego gets too big, you start to make funny decisions that will work against you over time that you wouldn't have done prior to getting to that stage. And usually greed has a lot to do with it. So the first is greed will kill you as a leader. The greatest leaders have to remain selfless. They have to understand that it's okay if you're not in the limelight. It's okay if your name isn't everywhere, as long as your people are, because you're the leader. You want to see them win. And then the second is the leaders that stay stagnant, that they felt like they've made it to the mountaintop, or that this is it for me. Mm-hmm. You have to always remain a student. You, especially in the current era we live in, nothing is the same as it was 3 to 5 years ago. Before, I used to say nothing's the same as 7 to 10 years ago.
Right.
Now it's like nothing's the same as 3 to 5 years ago. Then in a couple years, I think people are going to say nothing's the same as 9 months.
Yeah. I mean,
and it's going to be very real.
Right.
So how are you a great leader if you're still running the same ass plays, doing the same shit in a completely new era? Mm. And some people right now are nodding their heads saying, damn, dude, he's talking to so-and-so. Yes, I'm talking to so-and-so.
So if you're someone who's in a position where the person that you are being led by, maybe not by choice, but by position.
Yeah.
How do you change this environment? Like, can you change that leader from below? Can
I love
you
that
influence
question.
The person in front of you?
Unless you're an athlete in a fixed contract, you're staying in that predicament by choice. So I want to just correct, you said you're here not by choice. Yeah, you're by choice. Unless you're in a fixed contract like an athlete where you have a 5, 10, 12-year commitment, you're there by choice. If you're in an organization to where the leader's crummy, or you're not feeling, or you're not growing anymore, you're choosing to stay in that role. You're choosing to stay with that brand, that team, that predicament. It's a choice. And you're like, oh, well, I've done so much. It's hard for me to start over, or what do I do? I can't leave all this behind. Absolutely, you can, if the growth potential is greater by pivoting. And nothing's wrong by taking one step back to take two steps forward. The biggest mistake is when people are scared or afraid of taking one step back to take two steps forward. Think about the steps you took back to get to where you are today prior to feeling the way you feel.
Have you felt like you were in that position ever?
I've done it several times once I got the confidence to do it. I left bankers after 15, 16 years feeling that I was cream of the crop. I don't know, one of 9, 10, 11 regional directors at that company, associate regional directors overseeing offices and regions. At 34, 35 years old, making a grip load of income, loving the company, loving the brand. However, I knew there was more. And, we knew there was more. I mean, then from bankers went to, we started our own firm, Present Financial. We knew there was more. After Present Financial, did some time with AmeriLife. We knew there was more. From AmeriLife, did some time with Transamerica. Knew there was more. I mean, it's like the era of where you're doing one thing and that's all you do. That era is over for people starting today. And that is a legacy era for people who are on the last 5 years of their staple, like of their profession. If you got more than 5 years left running in whatever you want to do, don't think like your story should end as like you were the greatest XYZ and that's all you were, because the world is changing so fast that there won't be a significance for that anymore.
Right. Well, something that Sarah has said that has stuck with me is that you don't start from scratch, you start from experience.
Yeah, she's right.
And so when you go, but I want to back up because I don't think people really understand the magnitude of what you left at Bankers.
Yeah.
Because you were, 16 years in at that point?
Yeah.
At Bankers.
Yeah.
So Bankers Life is a national insurance company specializing mostly in retirees, Medicare, life insurance, annuities. You went from being an agent in the Bay Area at 23 years old?
23, yeah. Mm-hmm.
An agent becomes a field trainer where you're selling and training, becomes a unit supervisor where you're doing a little less selling, a little more training. Now you're recruiting, you're looking for talent, bringing them in. Then a sales manager where you're really running a team, but somebody else is making a lot of the bread because they run the office. Then you uprooted and left, right?
Yeah.
And you built all of this while also working with your mother-in-law as your branch manager and your wife.
Yeah.
And you leave.
Well, she wasn't my mother-in-law at the time. She
okay.
became one because I got married to one of the agents.
She was your girlfriend's mom.
Yep.
Then fiance's mom.
Yep.
And then you left before you got married, or you were married then?
No. Then I worked with her for 3 years as a son-in-law.
Okay. So then you leave the Bay Area and you come to Brea, California to take over.
Shout out to 1850 Brea.
1850. Is it still 1850? Still there?
Is Brea still there?
I don't think so. But
so I moved to Brea.
You go to Brea, take over an office that is pretty much falling apart, right?
Yeah.
And
they don't give away the good ones, guys. That's the best statement I learned.
Yeah.
No matter what opportunity you have and you want to grow, don't look for taking on the best ones. Look for scratch or turmoil or damaged opportunities, because that's where your leadership.
And I think that goes across industries.
Everything,
right?
everywhere.
You're buying
anything,
business, a house. When it has some fixer-upper necessary, that's where you get that equity. In it, right?
Amen.
So you take over Brea. You're building Brea. What year did you take over that? 2007.
September 2007.
2009. I come in. I interview.
Game changer.
And I see the writing on the wall that baby boomers are transitioning into retirement. You can be in the right place at the right time. There's more people than ever in history making this transition.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, this is a recession-proof business. This is right after 2008 crash. Mm-hmm. We're making money. So I come in.
And you were 23 or 24?
23.
Crazy.
So we're building that office. You get an opportunity to become a associate regional director.
Yeah.
So you leave there, hand that branch off to somebody else. You go take over another office that's not doing so hot.
Yeah.
Grow Laguna Hills, build that.
With you. Yeah.
With me. I open Huntington with you. And then, so the point I'm trying to make
is, you
like,
opened Huntington, you opened Santa Ana, you opened territories in Laguna, you helped grow Brea. I mean, it's crazy. A lot of what you described that I did, you were there.
So we had a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in building. You having twice as much time as I have into it.
Sure.
Your next steps are taking over from the next level of regional directing, and then after that, there's, I think, VP,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, VP.
And then there's like president and
Yeah, then
CEO or whatever, right?
That's right.
So you're only a few rungs.
Yeah.
And very likely, if you made it a lifetime career, would have made it to that top rung, at least, if not CEO, I think in that cabinet of people that are, right below. Becomes this good old boys club of a few dudes who've been there for a long time, right?
Amen. Mm-hmm.
So all that poured into place. You said when I gained the confidence to leave.
Yeah.
When did you actually feel inside, I think there's more, versus when you decided I'm going to actually pull the trigger?
Probably like 3 to 4 years before I left.
Okay. So you just played me for 3-4 years?
No. I was like 1 foot. I was like hokey pokey, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Like not sure. Is the grass greener on the other side? You're always like thinking about it. Then you're always sold. No, the grass is greener where you water it, right? Right. I'm not talking smack because it is most of the time. But the reality is in financial services, there are some vehicles that if you don't know, you're in the wrong vehicle or there's better. Like that's a fact.
Right.
Yeah. And I don't mean for clients. I mean for practitioners. Like if you don't know of all the other platforms and you've been sold that yours is the best, just do your due diligence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because whoever's selling it to you has a bias.
Yeah. And some of them might be amongst the best and you might not be in some of the best.
Right.
Yeah.
So what was it that gave you the confidence? Just feeling like,
amazing,
what could I lose?
Matt, is after, and some people will relate to this, but if you start feeling like you lost deals because of your brand or your opportunity or your environment, and you would have won the deal if you had something else backing you, that's when like if that happens to you enough times, that's when you have to make a change. And I went through that enough times, like it was enough. And I decided, hey, if I don't change and like, for example, go from captive to broker, because that was one of the biggest reasons.
Yeah.
If I don't go from offering just one brand, one company to offering most, if not majority of the brands and carriers, then I will be doing not only my clients a disservice because I don't have all the tools that are available, even though I'm licensed to offer them. Mm-hmm. And secondly, it's going to hinder my career because I don't want to keep having moments where I said, well, only if I would have, only if I could have. Well, why don't you, Sina? And that's when we're like, let's go do it. Mm-hmm. And now, I'm happy that I did it at that time because now we're in an era to where even like the bankers and the captive companies, they even have so many more partner carrier relationships to offer more than just themselves because it's been required to stay relevant in this space.
Yeah.
WFG did it with Crump until Crump got bought. Bankers was doing it with MAPDs through Humana and some of their partner carriers. I don't know who it is now. State Farm, Farmers, they all have these like partner affiliations that are other insurance companies that they try to create strength with together.
So I feel like being part of it and watching you take that step from, call it like corporate entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Like at Bankers, you're a branch manager. There's budgets. You're running a business as far as running the branch.
Yeah.
But in the end, you're not running it the way you were when we left and you actually write the checks and you're like taking all the risk.
Shit
right?
changes when you write the checks.
It changes, right?
I know you know.
So, but I think that a lot of people before they take that step might think that entrepreneurship is easy. I even know that as we were running the business, you and I kind of divided and conquered. I was running the sales team. I was in the field. I was doing the training. And every now and then there was like, I don't know what you call it, like internal relationship management or like human resource management amongst certain individuals wondering like, what's going on over here? What are you doing when you're not here maybe, right? But
correct.
You're doing things, right? And so without mentioning names or getting into things, right? Like how much more work is involved actually owning, operating, writing checks, trying to like take the vision into a real place versus mid-level leadership in a big company. Like there's a dynamic that's very
huge. Like being a number 2 and 3 versus being the number 1. Everything changes, in my opinion, in the company. Like in your roles, responsibilities, everything. Mm-hmm. It just depends on what it is the individuals wants, but I've recognized in hindsight there's a lot of great number 2s that stay number 2 like for life,
right?
And they still thrive and do very well,
right?
They never needed to hold the actual torch and and hold all the responsibility and delegate and deal with like just everything, because everything that goes well, usually you credit your players and your team, and things that don't go well, you got to step up and own it.
Right.
And some great number 2s and 3s, when they're aligned with some of the best number 1s, the relationship is already established to where it's okay for the number 2 or 3 to step it or bump it over to the number 1, because that's how we run the play.
How do you think someone can know that like they're the right person who's built and can take on some of the pressures and some of the different things of being like going out on their own, versus maybe if someone's debating whether the grass is greener, I'm frustrated with my leadership, or I want to grow faster, I want to climb the ladder, I want a promotion, or I should just go do it myself. In your eyes,
well,
what do you think?
I'll tell you, it's what's important for you. What is it that you want to accomplish in the next year, in the next 3 years, in the next 5 years? What do you want it to look like? What do you want it to smell like? How much money do you want it to make? Where do you want to be? How many people did you impact? What are your celebrations like? What are your downtimes like? You have to have those vividly drawn out in your mind to know what it is you want to spend your efforts accomplishing. Most people, I don't think, do that. Most people, they wing it. They want to have a good quarter. They want to have a good month. They're looking forward to a great weekend. They can't wait for, March Madness or whatever it is. I like, this is wild, man, because people who never work with you, they don't know this, but you were preaching 2037 mindset, I think, to our team. Was it 2037 or 2030?
No,
2037, right. So you're preaching 2037 mindset to our agents and your staff in 2017, 2018. Like, do you know how wild that is? Right now, people are listening and they're like, shit, dude, are you serious? Imagine you're in sales and you go to an office and your sales leader is preaching and influencing you to have a mindset and a vision that's 20 years deep. Like, do you know how powerful that is? These are some of the details that made a big difference, not only for us, but our players, the people who contributed.
I mean, to me, that's
incredible. Like, I still carry 2030, like I still carry 2037 mindset. That 2037 isn't important to me. That year is important to you, but I remember 2037.
Right. It still wakes me up and gets me over challenges and keeps me to the commitment I made to myself.
Yeah.
So I definitely encourage think further out than normal and see beyond the horizon. That's the whole
beyond
point
the
of this whole thing.
My first meeting with Tom, when we met together, was he asked me, he said, tell me your 10-year vision. In our very first meeting, after like 7 to 10 minutes of speaking to him, he's like, give me your 10-year vision. And I did not have my 10-year vision. Mm-hmm. And when he saw me fumbling to try to make it up or like not having, I said, look, I actually told him, I said, Tom, I've never thought about 10 years out. Like, I got 3, 5 years, 10 years is a long way. He said, well, why don't we just adjourn the meeting? And then when you have the 10-year vision, reach out to me and let's see where we go. And that was our very first meeting. And I left his office and I went home. I was like, damn, man, this guy, he got me. Like, what a great moment for me, because I felt like a jolt of growth just from that exchange. And I went home and I started planning out, what do I want it to look like? Where do I want to be? What's the weather like? What's it going to taste like? Who's around me? Who have I impacted?
Like 7 years ago, roughly?
Roughly, yeah, I'd say about that, yeah.
6 or 7 years.
And it's interesting because everything's changed since that exchange. Everything from my life has changed. Everything, like the amount of no's I say now are like 10 to 1 yeses. The level of significance for where I'm going to participate and not is so important to me.
Meaning back then you said yes to everything?
Yes. Back then it was like, how many things can I get engaged in and like put my hand out there and be involved? Now, if it doesn't involve what we talked about earlier, I'm probably going to have to pass because that's where my life is. If it doesn't involve the highest, best use of my time, it's not going down. Like, these are some non-negotiables for me. And it makes a big difference.
And do you look at it and say, like, when you look back, do you think, hey, there was a time for me to have said yes? Or is it, I learned something that had I known it then, it should have been happening all the way back then? Like, do people have a season they should say yes to everything, and then a time when you start to say no and refine more?
Yes, yeah, I do. I'm glad you said that. if not a lot is happening or there is room for more to happen, then your answer has to be yes to everything. Like meaning opportunity, invite, meet, network, try this, experience that. You have to say yes. Don't be in a place or position to where you're struggling or you're not happy or there's not enough and there's not abundance and you're saying no. Like start looking for some yeses to get engaged in, because if you keep saying no, we know what that's going to look like for you. You're already living that. But once you, I guess, there's stages and it's 8 steps, and we'll talk about those later. But once you get into the steps of business success, you're going to start to recognize that the power of no is much more important than yes. So, which is amazing, because when you learn, it's interesting because when we learn sales, we actually will learn go for no.
Right.
And now I understand even applies when you're very successful.
Right. Just a different kind of no.
Yeah. Well said.
You're trying to get people to say yes. The other one is people trying to get you to say yes.
Right.
You're part of the no.
Correct.
Right.
Wow. So I flipped.
Yeah. You did.
Shit.
Flip.
That's crazy, because that's actually growth, in my opinion, what we just talked about.
Yeah. So now if someone asks you, what's your 10 years? You feel like you're always refining and have a 10-year out
man.
all
It's
the time?
so cool. It is so cool. Yeah, I'm always refining, but the goal is to just get there quicker without having to work harder. Like, it's so cool. I live a motto of double your income working half the time. I live that. Like, everything I do has to apply to that. Double your income working half the time. If it doesn't apply to that, I got to look at that opportunity another way. Like, I don't know if I want to get involved.
Where would you say you're the most involved right now as an actual practitioner of all the different businesses and things you're doing?
Consulting, connecting with business leaders, team leaders, C-level executives, helping scale operations.
And that's the thing that you've got to have your voice or your presence.
Correct.
Or your hand or one.
Correct, because that's the most valuable time for me. Yeah.
That's amazing. I want to touch on something we started to talk about earlier, but I have noticed over the years that people who like immigrants to here, who tend to lean into entrepreneurship more and tend to want that ownership control and tend to perform pretty well. Now, the United States is diverse, right? There's people all over the place, but you said, your mom came from Iran and there's a thing with the Persian culture, all this stuff. But like, 2-part question. One is, why do you think that immigrants who come here from other countries utilize our freedoms, opportunities, and kind of limitless range of entrepreneurship and stuff more than people who are born here? This is an observation of mine.
That comparison is the equivalent of kids who are born with money and kids who are born without money. Like if you're born with an abundance and at 16 you get a new Benz, or at 16 you got to get a used beater and it's like $1,500 and you're embarrassed, but like you appreciate having a car. And the 16-year-old with the Benz just destroys the car and doesn't care because they're going to get a new one again, or they don't understand the value of what it took to get that. That applies to immigrants. I mean, I'm born and raised in America, so I can't speak on behalf of immigrants, but I'll tell you, for those who migrated to this country, most migrations aren't simple. And if you have a difficult migration, you better make it worthwhile. It's like if they were brought here first class, or a nice yacht with some caviar and some bubbly, and a limo took them to their apartment or to their house, I think they'd probably struggle. And end up failing and maybe want to go back to their country or not contribute to the growth here. But when they have to make some type of sacrifice or difficult decisions of what they're leaving behind, who they're leaving behind, can they afford to come out here? Do they speak the language here? Then they're coming out here with so much adversity and obstacles to overcome that failure isn't an option. Laziness isn't an option. I think. I mean, that's what I would credit it to. Yeah.
Could we talk a little bit about what's going on in Iran right now?
Dude, it's fucking wild, you guys. Iran, let me tell you what's crazy about Iran. Iranians, for those of you, especially on social media, there's a lot of social media stuff right now on Iran, and I'm happy that the attention's there. But one thing that people need to understand, people who are not Iranian, and when you see all these Iranians gathered together and they're holding their flags, and many of them will hold the U.S. flag, the Israeli flag, and other country flags, and no matter what country, and you see all these Persians and Iranians getting together holding these flags, one thing that's almost uniform that people don't understand is that there's all these folks that will say, well, why are we fighting for the rights of people in another country, specifically to Iran here? And there's two things that I want people to recognize who are not Iranian and in America. One is that most Iranians who migrated here, they want to go back to their country. They want to go back home. Like they're patriotic. They love America. They'll die for this country. This country's given them opportunity like it has for our family to build businesses, to contribute, to have just everything you want and the freedoms. You can't beat that. But most Iranians, they had that prior to the revolution. They had that. If you look at 1979 earlier in Iran, it looks a lot like America.
Yeah, it looks
so
like...
they had that.
Yeah.
It looks like you're going to Studio 54 nightclub and they're all Iranians in Iran. Like that's what it was like.
1970s
that's
fashion.
They all had that.
Yeah.
And they want to go back. So when the regime change took place and the revolution took place and all the Iranians left, many of them left because they lost all their property, all their money. A lot of their family got exiled. Their families got murdered. If you're supportive of the Shah and then a new regime comes in that's not supportive of the Shah and backed with other powers, you need to exit because you're not going to take down the authority. So a lot of these Iranians that are fighting here, they're fighting because they actually want their country to return to the way it was, for them to go back. And it's interesting, I share this because a lot of the comments are like, well, go back to your country. They will. I want you guys to know, Iranians will. Let Iran become the Iran prior to 79. Iranians will, and I promise you, Americans will go visit there. Even Americans might migrate to live there. Because if you have Persian friends and you know the Iranian culture, there is one thing that's unanimous across all of them, and that's the hospitality.
Eat a lot, always.
Overfeed your guest, give them more tea than they want to drink. Whatever they compliment that they like of yours, you're willing to offer and give them yourself. These are like common Iranian practices. This is how we're raised. And, a lot of people, we have this terminology called tarof, which tarof means to like be bashful and to try to kind of like let others go in front of you out of like have over courtesy. Mm-hmm. And like we're raised with so much of this.
Yeah, have you ever tried to go through a doorway with 3 Persian people? No one will go in. Everyone keeps saying you go.
We're like guilty for this. And these are some of the extremes that we have to like chill out on. But Iran and the culture and the people are such a warm people that we would all love to go and not only visit, but so many Iranians want to go live there. That's the first. The second thing that's very important is that the reason why this concern should involve everybody, especially here in the United States, is because Iran is a very resourceful country, and there is a lot of value in that country, and the regime is the reason why they're exiled from trade and relations with other countries, especially America, and we put them in the axis of evil and their terrorist regime. These are all the reasons. So if we get rid of that regime, if we get rid of these types of practices that the westernized world and most of the civilized world doesn't agree upon, then we can leverage and have a stronger, united world. It'll benefit everybody. Look at all the YouTube videos of influencers going to Iran. And they use the fear of going there as a way to get you to learn about their visit and their trips there. And all of them share the same sentiment of what an amazing country, what amazing people, and how the people live in fear of living the lives that they deserve to live. That's what's crazy. And it's been 47 years. So we'll see what happens. But the Iranian people, they need support because they don't all have guns to go out there and take down the regime that has guns and weapons.
Right.
The regime will leverage, tactical warfare with cutting off the internet and not allowing messaging to exit, and they'll have mass nights and murders when people will pull into the streets to voice their fight for freedom. Iran ranks number 2 in the most amount of what is it when you kill people? Executions. Number 2 in executions. Like, I say to myself, I'm Iranian. I know so many Persians, our family. We are like the least violent folks. Killing somebody is the last thing we ever think about if someone does something wrong. If someone does something wrong, we don't want to just kill them and hang them. Mm-hmm. But Iran is number 2 in executions. Like, that's wild. That's the regime. That's not the people aren't saying, hey, let's execute everyone. It's the regime who has the control and all the money. And they're squeezing all these Iranians and the people tight. You know what's created this huge uprising that people don't understand is that they had like 72% inflation in like 2-3 days recently. It started at 30 and went to 72% inflation.
How?
Imagine on a Friday you get paid, and on Monday your comp was worth a third of what you made. Like how it has a third of the buying power. How are you going to stay sane, happy, chill, and like it's all good? No, eventually you're gonna be sick of being sick, and and the people are sick of being squeezed because they've been squeezed to death, bro.
So, but I see videos of people taking down flags and replacing them with the old flag,
correct,
and stuff like this. But how are they now able to do the? Is it just the masses?
Yeah. What it is,
people?
the tension and the world is watching. And, I'm not educated enough to know how these regime folks operate, but there's so much pressure that we're able to get glimpses of it. And the confidence is there hopefully for there to be a turn. And on my way here, President Trump put an announcement on, we're coming to help you for the people of Iran, on Truth Social. I was pretty surprised to read it, but it's specifically, let me see. I'll look at it later, but specifically, he told everyone, all people around, the visitors and non-Iranians, to get out, all Americans to get out. So these are all signs of getting involved, engaged. Yeah. But it could also be scare, fear tactics. I don't know, but it's a mess, dude. It's a mess. It's 47 years. People are sick of it. The world is sick of it, and it's time for change, bro. It's time for change. We're 2026, dude. People got to be able to be free, be comfortable. You got all these elders that are fighting for the rights and freedoms of the future generations. Elders gotta enjoy their retirement, dude. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. Imagine seniors on fixed Social Security in America, that they have Social Security and then not having any Social Security in another country, and there being 30 to 70% inflation in like a few days. Like it's corruption.
How does the inflation happen? Like the government just raises all the prices on stuff, or
no? What happens is sanctions accelerate, so then there's less trade with other countries. Then for example, if let's just say if you're a country that does trades or deals with Iran. Somewhere I read that there was a 20 or 25% tariff penalty now if you're a country that does deals with Iran. Mm-hmm. Well, those countries will now think twice about doing trade with Iran, so less money will go into the country. Right. So the regime will have less money to add up for themselves. So what they'll do is they're going to say, hey, you know what? We got a whole bunch of people here that live in our country. We're going to squeeze them. So we're going to now the toman or the real or the dollars that we use here, it's not going to get you as much anymore. Mm-hmm. And then people who sell eggs are forced to sell eggs 3 times as much because they got to pay 3 times as much for farming and for resources. Right. And it's a chain. The exact flip side of how abundant we are here, bro. Like what an abundant country we live in, dude. Like if you're struggling in America, the only real excuse you have is that your health is hindering you from it, dude. Like, and I'm not saying that in a disrespectful way. I'm saying our health is our wealth. But if you have health, you have no excuses. You have no excuses. Just run hard, find out what it is that you got to do, keep pivoting, keep testing, keep modifying. Surround yourself with people that care about you. Ask for help. Get rid of the ego. Your ego is not your amigo.
Yeah.
and once you learn how to do something well, pay it forward. Pay it forward. Help other people grow. You know, one thing that I asked Grant Cardone, I said, what do you do when the bird is down, you're not flying, your family's occupied, your cell phone's out? Like, what are you going to do? And he said, help someone. He said, if I have nothing going on that's going great for myself, help someone else. He said, I'm going to help someone else do well. Mm-hmm. That applies to everybody. If you're struggling, go help someone. I promise you will struggle less through helping someone. You will see. You'll get introduced to somebody. You'll find a new passion that you got engaged in. But move. A body in motion stays in motion.
Is that a physics?
Science.
Yeah. That's amazing. I appreciate you educating on what's going on in Iran because I see videos. I don't really know. Some of them look like AI. Some of them look real. I don't even know what's going on.
That U-Haul video is real, bro.
The what?
The U-Haul video. Like if you saw the U-Haul running through the people, that's real.
But that was
That was yesterday. That was I'm sorry. It was on Sunday.
Was that there? That was here.
That was here in Westwood, right?
Right.
Right, but like that was supposedly though the opposition that came through with that U-Haul. That wasn't like a random dude who lives in Woodland Hills. It was the opposition who wants the existing regime to stay in place in Iran. So they're coming out here telling, hey, all you Iranians in America, sit your ass at home. We don't need you to create more noise here. And their days are numbered, bro. Their days are numbered.
I mean, I just think it's so important that we recognize, like, I'm not a big believer in luck, but there's one thing you have no control over: where you're born.
That's true.
Where you're born.
That's true.
And like the country you were, like, inception.
Yeah, that welcomed you.
You don't have control over that. And us who are not born into those situations, I mean, there's some crazy stuff happening there.
Everywhere.
Venezuela, what's going on there.
That's going to get better from what I hear.
Yeah, it sounds like it. It sounds like it. But there's just a lot. Nigeria, what's going on over there.
It's just like, important, though, for your listeners, though, just understand that Iranians are the ones where if you're like, well, why don't you just go back to your country? I want you to know Iranians are the ones that when that country becomes the way it was, they will. Like they will. They won't challenge that statement. They will go.
Now, you were born here. Do you think you would go there?
Absolutely.
Like permanent?
No, not permanent,
like
because I love America, but I'd love to visit. I'd love to go and spend money there and even create business there.
Yeah.
On X, there's a lot of American entrepreneurs that are gathering resources to start businesses in Iran right now.
But you're saying there are people who are here that are only here because they had to flee.
Correct.
But they'll go back permanently.
In a heartbeat.
Because that's
in a heartbeat.
That's their home.
There are a mass number of Iranian Americans that migrate here from Iran that have been counting down the day for 47 years for them to be able to return to their home country.
Yeah. I mean, my grandparents came here from Cuba.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's a lot of pressure right now talking about Cuba's regime might fall. They're not getting money from Venezuela. And we'll see what's going to happen there. But my mom was saying, she's like, I wish my grandparents were alive to see if Castro's regime, you know, and all that, he's gone, but his brother and all falls, because the same thing with Cuba. It was like the most traveled, visited place in the world in the 30s. And it was like, I don't know.
You can travel there now.
You can, but
I mean, remember we couldn't.
You can travel.
No, I remember
now.
we could not, though. You couldn't go spend money there. You can't bring anything back there. Yeah.
You couldn't do any of that.
I remember.
But in like the 30s and 40s, it was like the hot spot in the Caribbean. It was like celebrities were going there. It was booming.
You could see that.
All of that just.
That's why they got such a dope classic car collection out there, bro.
That's the last cars they got.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
amazing people, though, bro.
Crazy.
Cubans are amazing people, amazing food. You educate me a lot on the Cuban heritage and practices. Thank you for that, man.
Yeah, that's good. We both come from places with good food where they feed people a lot. So one of the fastest moving things that I know you're leveraging has been AI.
Yeah.
You started a podcast also. Shout out to the Sora podcast.
Yeah, shout out to OpenAI, Sam Altman, Diplo's on there. Mark Cuban sometimes gets a plug, not as often. He's tough to get a hold of. We just got Gary Vee on there on the Sora podcast, man. You can check it out on Instagram, the Sora Pod. The Sora Pod or the Sora Podcast? I think it's Sora Podcast.
Sora Pod.
Yeah.
I
got to talk to my producers on that one.
Where do you see AI going? Earlier you were talking about how it's going to make this shift and like it's more relevant than people and that kind of stuff.
AI is everything. And I want you to know, team, I'm speaking to, if you're parents right now and you got kids that are like not sure what they want to do, get them engraved in AI. Get them engraved in AI. Have them learn it. Why? Because I'm a Zillennial. And I'm not going to go into detail, but go learn what Zillennials are. Zillennials had to learn the internet during that era, and I was born and at a very pivotal age during that era for Zillennials. You familiar with Zillennials?
No. This is
all right, you guys look that up later. Starts with an X. We might have Rich dub that in there if we have time.
You're the Gen X who just wants to be a millennial.
I'm not anymore. Like, I'm not. I thought I was, but Zillennials were discovered within the last probably like 6 months to 2 years. And they learned that we're in another Zillennial type era, but they're not Zillennials now. They're the folks that are like 18 to 25. If you're 18 to 25 right now, get engraved and master and learn AI and keep evolving and growing with AI. Like that's the sweet spot. You guys will win. Those people will win. But for everyone else, AI has to be incorporated in your business. You have to leverage and use it unless you're in a physical blue collar trade. Then you want to quantify through more people. Just get more bodies to get more jobs and more hours out there. But outside of that, Leverage AI. I like that. We're taking notes in the studio. So you got to leverage AI. Whatever you can automate, whatever you can add to your business, that's going to help you streamline or add time to your productivity, which is usually AI. You should include it. Yeah. Like if you get a lot of phone calls and you're answering your phone still, you should be delegating that to AI. If you're getting a lot of leads that you have to scrub, you should have a way for AI to disqualify the ones that you got to scrub, like stuff like that.
Right. And I think that's relevant even in the blue collar stuff, right? The admin side of the business, that's always there. But
yeah, it is.
So what about like, I have this opinion that I think that whatever you call Zillennial or this era, right? Yeah. I'm a little bit after you.
Yeah.
But up until maybe someone 5 years younger than me probably is like kind of reaching the cap of a person who still had some analog things in their life. Like I grew up, we had a phone.
Yeah. 5 years younger than you, they didn't.
Maybe. Like I'm talking about my brother. So like my brother had like some of the things, right? Like he was on the edge of it, right? But like I feel like there's looking at AI and technology from the standpoint of somebody who knew what it was like before it.
Yeah.
There's a different sort of like utility. You look at it as a utility.
Yeah.
But I fear that like my kids are growing up, especially my youngest child, right? Like ChatGPT's been around since he was like 4. Like he knows and understands like some of this stuff. Like, I don't know, like there's going to be a alter reality that's going to exist where you may not be able to differentiate real from fake. And someone who, I don't know, it's kind of scary.
You're correct.
On some level, right? And so like you're hearing stories now. I just heard a story the other day of someone whose parent found out that their kid was having full-fledged conversations, relationship with a bot that somebody had programmed, and they're in this complete like state of shock now that they actually put themselves out there and connected and started to feel like they were in relationship with something that wasn't real. Someone programmed a bot to go out there and then start to pull and groom and do whatever it does, right? Yeah. But these are scary things. So how do we like use it in society and also protect from all of the, I don't know, I'm just opening up a conversation that I don't know either one of us have answers to, but it's kind of scary, especially with young kids.
Use it for business, you guys. Use it for business. Use it for business. And I mean, the greatest threat to society with AI is scamming, right? So since we can assume that scamming is there, we just have to now double, triple check whatever it is that is sent our direction, right? Hey, I need money. This is my voice, really, do this for me. Like, those are the scams. You now, unfortunately, have to verify them versus execute the help right away. Like, that's what the greatest threat is.
Right, and everything will be quadruple step authentications.
Yeah, it is. It is. Like, yeah, like
two-step.
Yeah, 2-step slowly becoming extinct because now, like, if you guys have crypto, a lot of the cryptos are now giving you another layer of security that's
retina
beyond
scanning.
Beyond 2-step verification. And this is just the progression of where it's going. What's really important is what's going to happen to the dollar. How high is gold going to go? Mm-hmm. Did NYC tracks NYC get his money? I mean, these are these are the really important questions we need to figure out.
Questions. Yeah, 100%.
Tell me that wasn't a great one.
No, that was great. That was great. The IUL. That was so good. So, you made a post that I think we should talk about. I haven't had anyone on here yet who's got that same experience level. But what's this debate with cash value is trash value and all this?
I didn't say that.
Not you, but there are many people out there, and I think that half of our industry is peddling a product that sounds good, but they don't know what they're even doing at all.
All right, I'm gonna set some clear, like, simplified boundaries and guidelines of when I believe IUL comes apparent. And people, if you want to challenge me on this, connect with me on Instagram. Let's go live and let's have a debate. Let's have a debate. I think 3-4 of us can get on there now. But anyone wants to challenge me on this, I'm ready to have the debate. But I believe that permanent whole life insurance, just the traditional old school whole life insurance, not IUL, permanent cash value life insurance, that's the least valuable or attractable life insurance to sell and to buy. And the main reason is because you're paying ahead of time for guarantees that are in a schedule. You have to just do basic economy and say, well, if the insurance company can afford to guarantee these returns, they must be making more money on that dollar. Because if they're not making more money on that dollar, they can't guarantee those returns and they'd be out of business. So that's the first thought process of permanent life. I would look less at purchasing that. Now, if I wanted a policy with whole life, permanent whole life. If I wanted a policy with cash value, it has to be IUL instead of permanent whole life. And the main reason why IUL over permanent whole life is because you're now looking for cash growth, so you're going to take a little bit of risk of the indices performing better than the guarantees that a traditional whole life policy would have given you. So you have to be willing to take that risk. So IUL outpowers whole life. Now, when it comes to life insurance in general, you should get term life insurance. If you're under 65, you should buy a term policy and get as much term as you can versus paying more for a higher IUL amount. And the main reason is because in the IUL, you're paying for mortality and health expenses or M&E expenses in the policy. You're paying administrative costs for the policy. You're paying for the cost of insurance to keep getting more expensive as you get older, which will eat away at your cash value or require more of a premium payment. In term policies, it's fixed and set, and there's like no guesswork. There's no cash value. You're buying it as a hedge to protect yourself from a death, and you're looking at it as an expense should you outlive the term, and celebrate that you outlived the term. Don't frown that you spent that much money and it was gone, because we don't frown every month that we don't get into a car accident and we pay for car insurance. It's part of protecting ourselves. Now, who should buy an IUL? The two most appropriate prospects for IUL is one, juveniles. If you're a parent and you want to help your kids have value when they're older, if your kids are 18 and under, buy them an IUL. Put money aside in there every month, get together with an experienced agent who knows how to structure them correctly, and you put some money inside in there, so then when they're 20, 25, they have some money, they can use the money, or they could choose to convert it to a paid up term policy and not pay a premium ever again and have some money left over. So it's good
paid
for
up permanent policy.
Well, no, because it could be a paid up term policy. Like they could end up having like a $50,000 IUL that has enough cash value to now have a paid up $1.5 to $2 million term until they're 65. Yeah. See, these are some details that are very important, because now if you set your kids up to have cash value but not need the cash, and then have like a large term policy until they're 65, one, they never need to worry about buying insurance. Secondly, their kids are protected should they have kids, their spouse, and there's also beneficiaries that will go to let's say the parents or someone else. So there's there's a lot less risk. There's no loss. Mm-hmm. The second group that it's really good for is business owners. Now, I'm not a tax advisor, but I'm going to give you guys a strategy that should and still could be okay, unless we got some IRS enrolled agents in here that listen and now make some changes. But business owners who buy an IUL, they should front load and stack as much as they can into an IUL through their business. And it's a business expense for their employers. And if you're a sole proprietor business owner, then you buy it for yourself as an employee benefit. Then when you retire, now the policy, you either put lump sum or you pay for it for X amount of years. Now that you retire, you no longer have to pay for your policy. You've deducted the premiums all these years while you were employed from your taxes as an employee benefit. And now you have this policy that doesn't sit in qualified status because it's a life insurance. This is now where you win, because now you have cash value that you can borrow, you could use, you could surrender. And if you take out less than you've put in cumulatively, there's no gains for you to be taxed on. That's the come up right there.
Just know that if you write off the premium, the death benefit is taxable. So you got to be doing it for your own.
I'm not going to challenge that, because you're probably right per the tax code. I just don't know the last time someone died and the agent or company delivered a death benefit check along with the 1099.
Hey, all I'm saying is
I'm licensed. I'm licensed, and I'm just saying, yeah.
I gotta just throw it out there. I do want to say something too, though, that I think the biggest problem with IUL sales out there, is that these things have back end structure where they're designed, And unfortunately, there's a lot of agents that sell them as a side hustle. And they're not practitioners that understand what they're designing, and they're being told and trained to design things that are better for them than the buyer, than the customer.
Yeah.
So if you have a policy out there, one way that you can look to check and see, was yours structured to maximize your returns versus the agent returns? You go and look inside that policy. You're looking for something called target premium. The target premium is the amount of premium that the agent gets paid on. When you overfund a policy, meaning you're paying way more into the cash value than what that policy needs to live on, and you have this delta you get to make money on as the owner, your premium should be way above and beyond the target premium. I just reviewed a policy the other day. Mm-hmm. A guy had a $400,000 policy. Mm-hmm. He's paying $250 a month into it. It's $3,000 a year, right? And I said, well, what are you trying to do with this? Why do you have $400,000 death benefit? You're only paying $3,000 a year. He's like 30. And because I know that a $400,000 policy has room to probably put in like $20,000 a year into this thing, or more than that, right? So he was sold this policy and said, well, one day, if you can put more money into it, we'll create this room so you can add more. And I said, no, when that time comes, you should apply and increase coverage and buy more. Every year that you don't meet the maximum possible amount the IRS will let you put in, you're just putting money in to pay the fees. And we looked at the structure of his policy, and lo and behold, he was paying in almost exactly what the target premium on that was. Meant that every dollar he paid in paid full commission to the agent, but none of his money was going above and beyond like the main cost. So he wasn't building any like extra. And so that's an easy way to sell a bag of goods and tell people, hey, in the future, if you can make more money and you can put money into this thing, then go ahead and do it. We're creating the room. But every year until then, you are just paying extra money for a like expensive policy. Like they're just not structured right. So simple thing is go look at your target premium. And if you're not paying in probably twice as much as what the target is, then this thing was structured not to your main benefit. And we could restructure it. Maybe you need a new agent of record on file who can manage and structure this thing for you, but you got to do something different. The other thing is I think producers out there have to stop selling permanent life insurance before they've covered the actual death benefit need with term, right? Like you can tell if a person has 3 kids and they died and they need to replace a $200,000 income,
right?
A $200,000 policy ain't going to do it.
Right.
They need 2-3 million of term. And then if they can still afford to fund and build something bigger, you could put a second policy on there. You got to structure it that way. And all of the tax benefits of these tax-free income, it only matters if you achieve a high tax bracket. If you're in a 12 or 15% tax bracket, you have an income problem. You don't make enough money to reap the benefits of the tax-free benefits of these policies. If you're in a 30+% tax bracket, now you're playing with numbers where like tax equivalent yield matters and all that stuff. So just a thought, like it's a loaded thing. It's a problem, but almost every day I see someone going live on TikTok, all disrupt and tear apart IULs. And then
here's a statement that will really unfortunately disrupt IULs. And I say unfortunately because I'm licensed, I can sell them. So, and by the way, as a quick side note, if your company doesn't offer IULs, don't trash them.
Yeah.
Because you can't even offer them. So like you're already putting yourself at a disadvantaged state to be like, oh, these are trash policies, but you don't have them to offer even though you're licensed to offer. So let me share with you as a licensed practitioner who can offer them. The challenge with IULs is that the premium is flexible and agents are the ones that are selling that premium. That's the problem with IULs. Mm-hmm. With term life and traditional whole life, they're fixed premiums. So like the agent can't do any fancy or lack of knowledge, shenanigans, or as my boy would say, Luchek, bamboozlement. Shout out to Greg Luchek. You can't you can't bamboozle folks or brand. I don't know if you can bamboozling, but agents who sell IULs, the problem is that you get to type into your software how much premium they want to pay. And it's like, hey, I'm gonna have this guy pay 50 more than this guy, and like that's the problem. That's literally the problem. I know, Matt, you're like the cream of the crop when it comes to advisory. So you've done your homework. You know what you're saying. The reality is, we don't have agents that are that committed to knowing the trade. They will only regurgitate what they were told.
Right.
And if you were kept being told the wrong things by the wrong uplines or the wrong people, you're just misspreading, or you're just spreading misinformation on a continuum. And that's what's happened. So until IULs have like 3 options, meaning it's like A, B, and C, and they're fixed premiums, this will be a problem. But once they're fixed and they say, do you want to do plan A, B, and C, and they're fixed by the carrier, this whole issue will be behind us and IULs will be a winner. Mm-hmm. Did you pick up what I just shared with you?
I did, but I don't know when that's going to happen.
Well, I know. See, I consult with a lot of these large IMOs and carriers, and these are some of the things we talk about, because the debate is to make IULs compliant and less of a FINRA regulated SEC type product,
right? Because
it has a lot of crossover in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, who knows when that's going to happen, but all I know is that, maybe I'll make a commitment today. I'll put out more content around how to actually vet and the questions to ask the agents, because they're viable products. They make sense. They're not trash, but
they're not for everyone, and they're not for most people.
No.
Let me put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're not for most.
They're not for most.
And if your agent's constantly trying to push one or sell one to you over another type of investment or vehicle, that's one of the flags.
But I think that, like the point you made, that if you have the ability to offer all, and then you make the choice for them,
correct,
you have a lot less bias,
correct,
than if the
correct,
company all the way to the top says we don't offer
correct,
these or whatever.
Right. Or that's all you should go sell. Correct.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So in your life, what's the next big thing that you would say is beyond the horizon? Something that you're looking out, maybe it's part of that 10-year vision, but we know that you want to work less and double your income.
Oh, I'm already doing that, bro.
Yeah, but if you're gonna do that again,
double your income working half the time, specifically. Mm-hmm. Double your income working half the time. No, the goal for the next thing is definitely philanthropic work. Get some nonprofit organizations out there. Help community, help other folks, entrepreneurs. I'm really focused on being, I want to infuse capital and knowledge into businesses that if they had either of those or both, they would have 10x return.
I see.
That's where my focus is. I'm looking for
seed
the
money here. Anybody who's
absolutely listening? Seed money, seed knowledge. Just let's help better systemize and optimize your current process and help yield more fruits from your current resources. Like, it's crazy that how many businesses have what I call hidden assets, and they don't know that they're hidden assets. So like their CRM, their phone with their contact, they might be soliciting them only 1 or 2 or 3 ways, or for 1 or 2 or 3 products, not recognizing that there's over 20 to 50 ways, additional ways to be able to squeeze fruit from those resources. Like, that's what's incredible to me. And when you learn that, you just were able to add more value to what you were currently doing without more time. And that's the win.
Are these things that are you putting content out? Are you teaching? This is like consulting only?
Very limited content. Just because I'm not selling my services to the masses. You have to be a specific business owner or entrepreneur that understands you have some pain points. Right. The problem with social media or just putting out content on this type of knowledge or value is that a lot of the consumers or entrepreneurs, though they know they're not at their unlimited potential, they have too much ego to reach out or want to get help or to want to make change. Yeah. And there's no, you can't expend energy where it's not going to come back.
So it's a question I never have asked you, but I think you've got a long enough track record. You should be able to look back and think of at least one example. But what is a moment where, that saying, like, sometimes you win, sometimes you learn?
Yeah. Yeah. I believe that.
Learning is those moments where it really didn't go the way you planned on it going. Yeah. And maybe you got your ass kicked. Yeah. And you get to look back. What's a moment that you can be vulnerable, authentic share, and like where you're like, I really did not get the outcome that I was intending on getting from this, but I learned a lesson?
Whew, man, I think just relationships with friends and family is probably what that most resonates with. Some friends and family you have that outcome with, and it makes things stronger, and you repair them. With some relationships, it makes things weaker and they dissolve. And that's been the greatest. What you just described, you win and you learn. In relationships, usually in relationships, someone's winning. And in relationships, the other side is learning or losing. And I've never taken on losses from those relationships. I've taken them on as learns. And specifically, I go to relationships because even if it was a burn in business that I learned from, it was the relationship that I put trust in that I really learned from, because that relationship and trust with the other parties involved in the outcome that wasn't the most desirable, that would have been what's considered a loss, or in this case, a learn. It comes down to the relationship, you know.
No, you're saying someone burned you or someone.
Yeah, that's what. In
Yeah.
every relationship, you're winning or you're neutral. Or you're gonna lose. Every relationship with your friends, your wife, your kids, your parents.
Yeah.
You're gonna win or you're gonna be neutral or lose. Every relationship. And some of them you'll take an L, but it'll be a learning opportunity and you'll make things stronger and better. Some of them you'll take an L and it'll dissolve, and you'll be like, dude, I'm not gonna take that L again.
Is there a specific experience where like this happened without maybe getting into the details you can't share?
No, it happens. It happens all the time. It happens all the time. And the closer you are with some people, the more boundaries are going to get crossed just because you have comfort to go down that path. And the most synonymous times though that it happens that's recognizable is when a lot of money comes in play. Unfortunately, there's a line that I learned that says money makes people funny. And that's very true. Unfortunately, money changes some folks, and it's not the lack of money. It's when they get more money. Some people, when they get more money, they get more abundant. Some people, when they get more money, they get more greedy.
So what's the lesson then? Like, do you have a better filter on how to judge who you do and don't do business with, that you have relationships with, or when it's getting funny? Or
yeah, I think that the greatest lesson is be willing to make an investment that's not too significant in the beginning, whether it be your time, attention, or money into the relationship, knowing or assuming that if you lose that investment, it was a very small price to pay for having learned a big lesson. So like, for example, you'll lend someone $10K and they don't pay you back. You're not going to be like, oh man, I lost $10K, life is over. You're like, shit, thank God I only lost $10K because I would have lent that fool $100,000. Like, that's an example.
Right.
Those are some huge learning opportunities.
For sure.
You know, some people they'll instead of like they'll take a loss on that choice instead of the lesson learned. And for me, it's the lesson learned. Like, I'm trying to think of a recent example where I did something for somebody, and then they canceled on me for like something that I needed back. And I said, you know what? Thank God they canceled. Thank God they canceled, because if they would have delivered, who knows what I was willing to do for them next. And like, that's an example.
Right. Do you, relationships are hard like that.
Everything is relationships, dude.
It is.
If you guys are listening and you're like trying to correlate it to your business, it has to do with the relationships in your business, whether it's your admin, your upline, your managers, your agents, yourself, your clients. It's all the relationships. It's not the business itself. It's the relationships.
So I was going to say though, do you think that in those moments you have a choice to either learn, and if you don't, then some people build resentment, and then it ends up hurting them even more and longer, right? Absolutely.
Everyone has that choice, and you have to start to condition yourself to approach it with a learning opportunity. Then this is against me, and damn, I got kicked again, or I suck. Or
this is how people turn into that victim mentality, right? It's like they hold on.
There's no room for victims. There's no room for victim mentality unless you don't have your health. You don't have your health. That's why you guys, if you're old enough, go get that colonoscopy. You think I'm playing? And I'm not talking about poop at home, man. Go get the real deal. And if you're a female, go get that mammogram. Like, cancer is no joke, yo. And what's crazy is that if you can identify these symptoms or precursors before they become an issue, you have a high likelihood of it never being a problem. Mm-hmm. But if you delay it because you don't think it's significant, that shit will catch up to you, man.
Yeah. Well, stay healthy for sure.
Everybody,
do your part. What's something that you want to leave people with?
Pay it forward. I want to tell you guys, if you listen to this, find someone that has reached out for help in the past, and maybe you weren't in a position to help them then. If you're in a position to help them today, reach out to them and do that for them. And if they don't need your help, find someone else that does. Because I know most of us, we might have been called upon to help someone or do something for someone in the past, and maybe we weren't in that position or predicament. Don't forget that when you get into the position or predicament, to pay it forward or to help, to do so. That's very important.
One way to pay it forward: study the 51 laws.
Oh yeah, man! I don't even plug the book, dude.
I want to plug the book.
I didn't plug the book, bro.
You've your leadership, these different things, the way you live this out, did a lot for me. I think one of the greatest gifts Sina gave me at a young age, me being a young age, was creating a lane to be able to lead. I think there's a lot of people in places where whoever's leading doesn't create any space for the next person to take on anything.
So well said, bro.
And so you stifle and lose out on leaders that might be there. And I had an opportunity to make mistakes, to try things, to pick up and try to lead and fail and be shown how to do it and all this stuff. But it's because you created a space intentionally, so someone could kind of lead within, almost draft behind you and like lead within the space.
Dude, I wanted you to take me to the next level, bro.
Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, there's this whole like dynamic with it, right? But I think that's something that I credit an experience I had that I didn't realize was happening until later, and I could look back and I could see different opportunities that came that didn't actually have to be given to me. And sometimes there were more work than I thought I was signing up for, and other times it was like right in the lane of what I needed and wanted. But
thank you,
so
man.
I appreciate you forever.
You're very welcome. I appreciate you. I love you, bro. Congratulations on all you've created, all the support you provided me, your podcast. I mean, this studio is amazing. Policy Engineer. This is the first time we're saying that, but congratulations on Policy Engineer.
Thank you. Our main sponsor, Policy Engineer and Asset Engineer.
Sponsor, Asset Engineer. Congratulations on your recent promotion. I got notified from the circle, LinkedIn. From the Words That Be, from the circle that you were recently promoted. Congratulations.
I appreciate it.
And to continued success, man. What you've created here, and to the people that are listening that have had the chance to work with you under your leadership and be influenced by you, you've put all of them in a better place, man. That's what's awesome.
That's awesome. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Before you head off into the rest of your day, can I say a prayer for you?
Please.
Awesome.
Please.
Lord, thank you so much for this. For Sina, this man who is always giving, is always authentically trying to really create partnership, to create space for people to do what they sometimes don't even see in themselves. He's got his hands in so many different things, which means he's influencing so many people. And I just pray that you be with him, that you comfort him, that you guide him, that you share the words that he can share with others around him. For any of his family and all the people in Iran, Lord, I just pray that your presence is there, that you help every single one of them have an extra confidence to step out. I pray that you protect them. And I thank you for the opportunity again to get behind this mic. And I hope that this conversation we had today helps many people. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Matt.
Hey.